Listen, I want you to watch this video. All right, bro, I want you to listen very, very carefully. I want you to watch this video, rewatch it if you need to, because this will literally change your entire life. This will allow for you to finally crack the 1% of men in whatever field it is that you're trying to do right now. Whether you want to be an expert in business, whether you want to be an expert in fitness, you want to build the best physique, whether it's you want to attract the top 1% woman, whatever that looks like, the top 1%, if you want to start rising up to that, this is the video that's going to do it for you in 2025. And I'm not telling you this because I don't know. I'll give you a story, right? I used exactly what I'm going to tell you to be able to build a tech company from fucking scratch. From scratch, from not knowing anything about technology, from not knowing anything about fundraising, anything about angel investing, anything about venture capital, nothing. Literally a snot-nosed kid that came from a university that wanted to build a tech company. Delusional as fuck. I've always been delusional, right? That's the one thing that you have to start learning is how to be delusional. But with that delusion came this one method that allowed for my delusions to become a reality at a way faster rate than anybody else, than any one of my competitors that were around me. And you're going to start seeing all of these gurus, all of these guys who are at the top 1% that you're looking up to. You're now going to start understanding that it is virtually impossible for you not to get there if you apply what I'm going to tell you. So what you need to understand is that every single one of these top 1% men were delusional, but also they mastered a skill called identity shifting. They shifted their identity in real time. Right? And this is exactly what I did. I'll give you a story just about the tech company. So when I was coming out of college and I was at my 9-to-5 job, I wanted more. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And at that time, I believe this was around 2019. This was when tech startups was a big thing, right? Everybody wanted to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody wanted to be the next Jeff Bezos. Everybody wanted to be a tech founder, right? And so for me, I had a vision of creating a tech company while I was working at my 9-to-5 job, and everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody did not actually believe I could do it. But the one thing that I started doing, I started analyzing all of the top 1% guys that were in the technology space. I watched all of their fucking interviews. I watched all of their documentaries. I read all of the autobiographies of these guys. I analyzed them through and through and through. And I wrote down their thoughts, I wrote down their beliefs, I wrote down their emotions that they feel on a consistent basis because they were raw and authentic on these interviews. And I wrote down all of the actions that they took to be able to achieve their goals. I even went as far as to literally write down every book that they recommended that they read that transformed how they thought, how their identity was. And the biggest thing that I realized, all of these guys shifted their identity from being an old version of themselves to then becoming a new version of themselves like this. They shifted their identity like this, and they allowed for the world, they allowed for life to catch up to them. They didn't wait for life to grant them anything. They essentially shifted their identity and demanded the result from life because all of their thoughts, their beliefs, their emotions, and their actions aligned with the goal that they were looking for. So that's exactly what I did. I watched especially Steve Jobs. I watched him a lot. I watched how creative he was. I watched how he looked at the world. I watched how he solved problems in his keynotes. I watched how he spoke. I watched how he dressed. I watched all this shit. And I wrote this shit down and I started to embody that every single day. I took all of his routines, all of his habits and embodied that shit every single day. And I became a tech founder that was able to recruit top level talent from Fortune 500 companies to come work for me. I became the man who could pitch very, very articulately, speak very, very well. Not because I understood the tactics, not because I went and watched how to become a tech CEO on YouTube, but because I embodied all of the characteristics of the identity of the person that actually was the person that got what it was that I wanted, which was a venture-backed CEO, a venture-backed tech CEO that had a very strong team. And so when I started to embody all of that and I started to get all of that, things started moving fast, started to get investments, right? I went from 2 years of trying to figure it out to finally implementing this process and raised $250,000 in less than 6 months. In less than 6 months, I raised that money. And that's when I started seeing a pattern. I did the same shit with my physique. When I was going to do a bodybuilding show, I had no idea how to pose. I had no idea what dieting should be done. I had no idea of anything. Did I have a coach? Yes. But what really helped me was watching Ronnie fucking Coleman every single day, watching how he trained intensely, watching him say lightweight on every single set and doing the exact same thing for myself to hype me up, watching how he ate, watching how he slept, how he looked at life. I literally, these interviews, I was watching so many interviews. I was reading so many autobiographies. I was reading about Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was reading his autobiography. I was reading everything just to install their identity into mine. And I would strategically destroy my old identity. I would literally write it down and I would burn it like what you saw in my last video, so that I saw that my identity was now destroyed and I had to rebuild it back up to this new identity that embodied similar to the type of person that I wanted to be. Right? And the reason why I say it's easier than ever to become the top 1% man now is because now everyone is starting to build personal brands. Everyone's starting to showcase themselves. Everyone's starting to be vulnerable on social media. There are no secrets anymore. You can literally watch how somebody acts, watch how they think, watch how the rituals that they do, and literally take that and embody it into your character now if you understand what your end goal is, if you're delusional enough to have those types of goals. Right? So once I started doing that, everything fucking changed. And it's the same thing for you. You watch all these people. I already know. You watch Andrew Tate. You watch guys like Hamza. You may think I'm in that category at a lower scale as well. You may watch me in that similar way as well. But here's what you have to understand. The shit that they're selling you are tactics. Self-improvement is bullshit. I'm saying that as somebody who's a self-improvement YouTuber. It's bullshit. It's not about self-improvement. It's about self-destruction and self-resurrection, self-rebirth. That's what it is. Because the old version of you, just adding habits, cold showers, adding journaling, adding all of this shit. By the way, I fell for that too. Adding all of that shit is doing nothing for you. Getting the next course that's going to teach you a new business model is not going to get you there from these gurus. It's not. Because here's the secret. All of those courses, they're basically trying to help you shift your identity without even telling you, so you're not conscious of it, which means you'll never actually do it. And the people who are conscious of the identity shifting method, they're able to take those courses and take it far. But the reason why you're still stuck at that 99% range is because you have not burned your old self. You have not looked at the top 1% men, figured out how they act, how they think, how they behave, what their worldviews are, what their emotions are on a day-to-day basis, what their mental models are, what their daily actions are, their daily rituals are. And you haven't embodied that to be who you are now to get what the results that they have that you want. You haven't done that yet. So of course you're going to run on the same programming and do the same shit all the time. You're still going to have the self-limiting beliefs. Oh, I can't do this. Oh no, I'll do this tomorrow. Oh no, I'll do this next year. Oh no, this is too much for me. This isn't something that I could do. You'll have imposter syndrome. You don't believe you can fucking make $10,000 a month. Easy, you can easily do that shit. I fucking promise you can do that shit. I did it in 3 months within finally understanding online coaching, online fitness coaching. I literally had no idea what that was. I was broke as fuck. I had no money. I burned my old self. It was after my tech company fell through, and I literally embodied my coach. I asked him the questions. Well, what do you think about every day? What are your thoughts? What do you believe about business? What do you believe about money? What emotions do you have every day? When you get up, how do you feel? How do you get over those bad emotions? What do you do? And what action steps do you take every day? What does your schedule look like? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? And I literally replicated that shit. The advice that he gave me, the course that he gave me to look through was very average. It was very surface level. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but embodying him allowed for me to supercharge everything. My social media content started to hit to where I started to get clients because I saw how he was posting on social media and I emulated that. You're not copying somebody else. You're taking the best parts of them and you're becoming a new version of yourself by literally shortcutting everything, by taking that person's identity and morphing it into yours, figuring out what archetype it is and literally fusing it into yours. And now in real time, you start to do these things, and the universe, life, has no other option but to give you the thing that you want, because you are the person who deserves that thing. For you right now, you want to be in the top 1% of wealth, but you're not willing to think the way that wealthy people think. You're not willing to believe the same things that they believe. You're not willing to have the same positive emotions that they literally have drilled themselves into having. You're not willing to take the massive actions that they take every single fucking day. You're not willing to burn who you are now and be uncomfortable and feel like people are not recognizing you anymore, losing your friends, losing your family. You're not comfortable doing any of that shit, which is keeping you behind these fucking attachments. If you've never understood the law of attachment, read about the law of attachment. I kid you not. Books like this, it's all metaphysical shit, but I'm telling you this from a practical perspective so you understand what I'm saying. It's not some woo-woo shit. You're attached to your old self. You're attached to the friends that you've created based on what you've already done. And because you're so attached to that, you don't want to let it go. And the only way that you'll ever get to that 1% is if you let your old self go and you embody the traits of that 1% man that you see all of the time. You have a fucking cheat code. The internet is here for a reason. The internet is here because it allows for you to see things that you wouldn't have seen before. It allows for you to hear wealthy people speak and how they act and how they operate better than you ever have before. Nothing's behind closed doors now. All of the shit is out there in the public. There's only one skill set you need to know. You don't need to fucking know drop shipping. You don't need to know trading. You don't need to know anything. You don't even fucking need to know personal branding tactics. You need to embody the person who is the top 1% in whatever one of those things there is, and then you can fill in the information as you start to adapt that. The rituals and the actual actions that that person takes and the beliefs that they have in themselves. That's what you need to embody. That's it. That's what's going to make you the top 1%. And you might say, well, Martel, everybody's like that. Well, if it's this easy, because it's fucking not, you're not going to, bro, if you want to make $1 million a month, do you know how many actions you have to take to be able to do that? Do you know how many sacrifices you have to make? Do you understand that, like, you need to start hiring employees, which means you don't pay yourself first, you pay them first, and you pay yourself last, and you may not make the type of money that you need to make, but that is what is required. That is the action that's required to make $100,000, $1 million a month. Do you understand that? So the concept is simple, but the implementation of it is where men fuck up, because it makes them uncomfortable because they haven't left that identity that is not serving them. You look at all these popular figures. You look at an Andrew Tate. Look, when he was a fucking dork. He was a dork, had glasses, didn't really know what he was doing. He was working a dingy sales job, not making much money. And he wanted to make a change because he saw somebody with I think it was a Ferrari or a Lamborghini driving by. And he told his friends, he was like, why can't we get this shit? They know something that we don't. And his friends just laughed and said, no, we're from the hood. We're from Luton. Our family's not rich. His friends were so attached to their old identity, and he was literally shedding that shit in real time. He's like, man, fuck that. You can be broke. I'm not. Shifted his identity. He was like, I want to look like a mobster. I want to be a top 1% fighter. I want to be one of the best global kickboxers in the world. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's probably what he was aspired to be. I want to make millions. I want to make $1 million a month. I want to do what? That's what he wanted. And then he embodied all of those traits. He took the traits of probably Scarface. That's why he smokes a cigar all the time. You got to understand why these people do it, right? He wears the glasses and shit all the time because that's what mobsters, they wear, like the dark glasses and shit like that. He started a webcam studio, right? Because he probably saw pimps making money at that time. And he wanted to do the same shit. That was what the identity that he had to have to do it. Am I condoning that shit? No. But what I'm telling you is he made that shift right then and there. He changed the way that he dressed. He changed the way that he spoke. He changed the way that he presented himself. And he started to embody the traits, the identities of all of these to create this mega identity of Andrew Tate that you see today. And he was able to have a meteoric rise, and people wonder how. That's why. Iman Gadzhi, a scrawny kid who was really, if you watch his upbringing, he wanted to be a fitness influencer. He realized, well, shit, that's not working. He had an agency that was probably making $3,000 a month. He was grinding. what did he do? He changed his identity. He saw people who were making way more money than him in the agency space, saw how they believed, saw what their beliefs were, saw what their actions were, saw what their emotions were, saw exactly what their thoughts were, embodied that shit, and literally like this, he made the shift. Now, when you make that shift, you have to hold that identity for a long enough period of time, and it doesn't take too long, but you have to hold it at least for 90 days. So that the universe can catch up to you, so that life can catch up to you. Because a lot of you guys are playing catch up with life, or I had a client, man, yesterday, or it was 2 days ago. And I remember and I work with him on identity shit too. He's building a personal brand, so I showed him how to do it. But his problem is really the identity. He was like, man, when is it going to be my turn? When is it going to be my turn to finally, and I told him, I'm like, it's not about it being your turn. It's about, you have it now. You have the ability now. You need to assume the identity of the person who is a content creator, who is a coach, who attracts people, and you need to be speaking in the camera in that same way. Watch the people that you like to watch and emulate them. Think about the thoughts that content, and I was telling him my thoughts as a content creator because I was his mentor, right? So I'm telling him all this shit. He was like, fuck, bro. And I could already see the shift, right? He started to get more confident. The next day, boom, that's how I got another booking. He was frustrated because he wasn't getting bookings when he first started his YouTube channel. I mean, he just started. And all of a sudden, boom, booking. Sales call, boom, has another sales call coming. Like, that's the shift. And the craziest part is if the shift is violent enough, if you've really burned your identity hard enough to where you don't even recognize the old version of you anymore, and you fully embody the new version of you, the results will come faster. The results will come effortlessly faster. And this is what I wanted to tell you, right? This is why I was so passionate about telling you guys this shit, because I'm tired of seeing all of you guys look at everybody else and wonder, how can you ever get there? And you take all of their bullshit tactics that they give you, but you don't necessarily do the one thing that they did to get to where they need to be, which is an identity shift. It's not the courses that they're selling you. It's not. It's the identity shift that you need to have to embody the person who achieves the goals. Then you can buy the courses, which will speed you up. But all you're doing is you're masturbating, watching self-improvement shit, improving on the bullshit old version of yourself, and you're wondering why results don't come up. That's why. So I hope this shit shook you to your core. And if you want to know more about this stuff, join my free Telegram below. I'm building an entire literally an entire group coaching program around identity shifting because I believe in this shit so much. It's what allowed for me to transform my life in every aspect. Every single goal that I wanted to hit, I always hit it. Moving out of the country, I did that shit in 2 fucking weeks with an identity shift. Doubled my income in 2 weeks and ended up moving to Romania with an identity shift. I became the man that could have that. I visualized it and became the man that could have it. I did all of the actions. I had all of the thoughts, the beliefs. No, I will be in Romania in 2 weeks. No, I will do this and I will do. I did that shit in 2 fucking weeks. I called it on YouTube. You can go back and say you can see where I say I'm moving to Romania. 2 weeks later, my ass is in fucking Romania, making 20 bands a month. That's how it works. I'm living fucking proof. And I'm trying to get you guys there because I know that there's room. There's room for me at the top. There's room for you at the top. There's room for all of us at the top. But you got to learn this shit and you got to internalize it and you got to get really good at identity shifting because that's the one thing that will help you achieve every single one of your goals relentlessly. So internalize this shit. Join the free Telegram below. Stay tuned for that. I'm taking on 10 guys in a cohort and we're going crazy. It's a fucking gauntlet in that bitch. Literally, bro, you're getting drilled. All of the things that you need to do to shift your identity fast, you're being held accountable at high levels with me and with other guys who are doing the same shit. So there's no excuses. There's no bullshit. There's no hiding behind closed doors and not doing shit, getting on a one-on-one call and saying, I didn't do it. No. You're going to be held accountable with dozens of guys. I already got guys in the program now as I'm restructuring everything. But I want you in there. If you're ready to actually change your life and make the money that you want to make, get in the best shape of your life that you want, or whatever the fuck your goal is, this method works for everything. That's why I'm so confident in this shit. But you need to be in here because this is the one thing that will change your life. I promise you. So I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video.